Welcome back to Teacher's Table. I'm your host, Angel Ottaway, and today we will be talking about my educational hours in a ESE self-contained classroom and how inclusion in education is important. First, I'm going to describe our classroom a little bit. The classroom is fairly large and is broken up in a way that makes it hard to use. The class setup is okay if you have 4 or 5 students. As you enter the classroom, there is a small hall with the bulletin boards where we place the students' work. Just past the hall is the teacher's desk and instructional assistant's desk. And the students' desks face towards a smart board that is placed on the right side of the front wall. You will find a U-shaped table where we do small groups and sometimes math if they're not using computers. And behind this is the shelves where all the books and the classroom supplies is kept, math timelines and the math manipulatives, as well as board games. You're going to find a washer and dryer, as well as a little kitchen setup with a long countertop, a refrigerator, sink. There used to be a stove and oven, but now there's just a big hole, and then you get more countertops, and then there's a bunch of cabinets. Most of that is all wasted space. The students that we have in the classroom this year are 7th grade boy and a 7th grade girl. The 7th grade boy was developmentally delayed a bit. Pretty smart, but he just doesn't want people to know how smart he is. He was mute until 2 years ago during the pandemic when he started talking. So he does parrot a lot. Our 7th grade girl has Prader-Willi syndrome, so we have to contain what is eaten in the classroom. She's not allowed to be around any food that her parents haven't provided for her, so we're not allowed to have birthday celebrations or school activities with food or food rewards this year, so that makes it a little hard, but we worked around it. Then we have our 8th grade boy who has made so many improvements this year. I'm so proud of him. When he came to us, he could barely read A, it, and I. And he was reading so many words at the end of this year, and his handwriting is beautiful. He spent his whole life copying off of somebody, but he didn't know how to think for himself because he had someone who was always controlling him. And we think he is going to make a lot of improvements in the next couple years. Our 8th grade girl has Down syndrome. She's very energetic and vibrant, very stubborn. And so she has a communication problem where she doesn't speak well. You cannot understand what she says unless you spent a lot of time with her. She was provided an iPad to help her communicate with people, but she absolutely refuses to use it. So she's very stubborn like that. You can't, suggest the iPad. If you put the iPad where she can see it, she gets very angry and starts screaming and yelling. So we just dropped the issue and just, worked on slowing her down and trying to get her to enunciate better. Some other adaptive resources we have on Tuesdays, we have speech that comes in and does a 30-minute lesson with all our students. We have our adaptive PE teacher who also comes in on Tuesdays, which the students love. And he does all kinds of different PE games that he teaches them. This year, we also got our very first smart board, which was amazing. We used it to play our movies, our Liberty Kids. I found a dice game that would roll a 20 die, and so the kids would take turns telling me what number it was, and if they got it right, they got to roll the dice for the next student. Other than that, we weren't provided any training. So there is a lot that the board could do, but we have no clue how to use it. I'm hoping to eventually get more training in Smartboard. The history that they do is a adaptive history. They're very old books. They don't even make them anymore. So we basically copy the originals every year and put them in binders for the students so they can do the workbooks. They do civics and history. The students do not like civics very well. It is very dry and very boring. The American history is much better. It has stories so the kids can connect to it better and they enjoy listening to it. So civics, I wish there was a better system for civics because it is hard. It is hard to teach, let alone, learn. So I do hope they find a better civic system for them. Some of our challenges in the classroom, our first challenge would be the layout, like I said. They could create so much more space if they took out the room dividers, if they took out half the kitchen, if they covered up the washer and dryer so that it wasn't constantly distracting the students. We have so many students, they're always obsessed with the washer and dryer every year. I think if that was covered up, it would help a lot. The second challenge is with our 7th grader, my male student, just started talking 2 years ago, which is amazing. He parrots a lot. So I spent most of this year hearing, Miss Angel, or did you fart? Or don't pinch the teacher, don't poke the teacher. So they're all just parrots of things he's heard his parents say. And you can tell when he gets really frustrated, he wants to express his feelings, but he can't do it. He doesn't know how. And so he'll say, don't pinch, don't poke, while pinching and poking you. I think pinching and poking is his way of expressing himself. I think he gets very attached to one person. His parents said that they've never seen him be so attached to someone like me. And so, I stay really calm with him. He's very stubborn as well. So he does not do well with getting stern with, because he will out-stubborn you every day. So you have to figure out different ways to get him distracted, because this kid is like the Energizer Bunny. He has so much energy. He does not stop. He will wear you out every single day, but he is so adorable, and I'm really going to miss him, and he's going to be really sad that I'm not there next year, and he's going to get very angry, and so I feel bad for the next teacher. The third challenge that we have is with my 8th grade female. Like I said, she refuses to use her iPad, and she basically has a parent who did make sure she got put into a general education class, even though she can't write. In the last 2 years, we've taken her from just scribbling, like she could not write letters at all, to being able to write letters that are legible, but she still can't write sentences. She can copy if it's written down on a board close to her, but she can't follow what's going on in the classroom. But her parent says she needs the socialization, so she thinks that class is meant for socializing. And so when she's asked to stop talking, she gets very angry and disrupts the class because, she thinks that she should be able to walk around, get up and go to the bathroom. But she would also, if she did go to the bathroom, would be found throwing a tantrum on the floor because there was no paper towels. So it's been really hard having her in the history class, because the history teacher has 29 other students that she has to be teaching, and one that has no clue what's going on, and she can't do the one-on-one with her. There's no aide in that classroom. It's basically color time for her, and it's sad, So we finally got her pulled from the class, and when she was put into our history class, she was on top of it. We could read the lessons and she could answer the questions, and it was way more her level. And then we would be able to write down what she wanted to say so she could write it down herself on the pages. And the last challenge is, the students really do want social time. They want to be able to connect with the other students, and that's what electives are for, to, have a class that you can communicate and still learn something. And unfortunately, it's easier for the admin to just take all our students and say, all right, you're all going to art. and that's it. They don't ask them, what do you want to do? What can you do? They don't try to separate them so that, into their places, because we do have students that are higher functioning that could have went to chorus and went to general PE, but instead they're just like, you're all in art. And art is a 1-semester class, sometimes a 2-semester class, and they do 4 semesters between 7th and 8th grade. It's really unfair to the students because it's just a bunch of repeating of the same assignments over and over again. And a lot of them don't like art. And so then they get angry because they want to sing or dance or, play instruments or do cooking and culinary. They want to be able to interact with kids that are maybe on their bus or in their neighborhood. And so that is another big struggle. We've tried to get admin to let our students do general ed PE as well as culinary and chorus, because those things are stuff that they used to do, I'm told, and because it's just more difficult on admin, they decided not to do it anymore. Some of the strategies that we use with our students is that we have a dance party between each bell, because our students do not leave the classroom 90% of the time. And so to get them up and moving, they do get to have a dance party, go to the bathroom, and stuff like that for 3 minutes. Each subject is taught in a rotation pattern around the classroom so that they're not stuck in one part of the classroom all the time. And then by the time we have 2 classes, they'll get their electives and their lunch and then PE, and then we'll have the rotation of the classroom again. Math is often at your own pace, so they are always on different topics. So it's where we usually get all of our steps in, going around the table, helping each of the students. Then we every day give the students a snack break because it's in one of the students' IEPs. And so we just make sure that they have a snack. If they don't bring one, unfortunately, we have been paying for them to have a snack. And once they're done eating, we give them 10 minutes and tell them they're not allowed to leave the table. This is snack time and it is communication time. So they need to think of a question for one of their friends about something they want to know, or about something they've done, or anything they can think of. And it was very quiet the first half of the year, but the second half of the year, all the students seemed to open up a lot, and they really started communicating, asking about each other's weekends, holidays, extracurriculars. And so it was really exciting to watch each of these students grow. My personal reflection on my examination is working in the classroom can be frustrating because the space is wasted, and it is, if the district thought to communicate with the people who worked in the classroom at all, then maybe they could work out a better way to use the space and take out some of the stuff that blocks spacing that isn't needed anymore, especially part of the kitchen. If they took out countertop and a couple of cupboards, it would make up a lot of space. And if they would put that smartboard on wheels like they have in the library, then they would be able to change the facing of the desks, or change where the desks should go, and be able to move that smartboard around where it's best used. And then in the future, if they have a violent child, then they'd be able to move the smartboard out of the classroom so that it doesn't get damaged like the previous one did. I really love working with the children in the classroom. Next year they are going to have 11 students, some with diaper issues, some with menstrual issues, and so I am not sad that I would be missing that by getting my own elementary classroom, because I just don't deal with bathroom issues very well. I'd rather wrestle somebody with anger issues than deal with bathroom issues. And thankfully, I've had other people who've been able to do the bathroom issues in the past. I am sad that I won't be seeing some of these students next year. I do hope to see some of the students who do move on to high school, because some of them will be going to the same school as my son. So I do hope to run into them at some point and see how they're doing. We can conclude that without proper inclusion, education students lose out on key parts that give them the knowledge of life's basic skills: how to communicate, how to deal with conflicts with other people, and how to problem solve their own problems. This is all the time we have for today, so please join us next time on Teacher's Table. And as always, we talk and you listen.